This is a strong opening move, immediately taking control of the center. This move challenges the center and opens lines for the queen and bishop. This move develops a knight and attacks the opponent's pawn. This move develops a knight and defends the e5 pawn. This move develops a piece towards the center and prepares for kingside castling. This move directly attacks white's central pawn, initiating a sharp and theoretical opening. This aggressive move directly attacks the f7 pawn, aiming for a quick knockout. This move challenges the central pawn and opens lines for your pieces. This move opens the center, creating tactical possibilities but also requiring careful play to avoid a weakened king position. This move bravely attacks the bishop but leaves your knight vulnerable to discovery. This move is a sharp tactical response that aims to punish black's adventurous knight by immediately creating threats. This move forces white to make a decision about their bishop and pawn. This capture opens up lines for your queen and bishop, but be wary of the pawn on a5. This pawn capture opens up your queen and bishop for active play. This move aims to exploit the pinned knight on c6 and attack the weakened pawn structure. This move prepares to recapture the pawn and develop the queen to a more active central square. Developing the bishop to a more active square clears the way for castling and continues the fight for central control. This move is a tactical oversight that allows white to win material. This move opens up the kingside for your pieces and prepares a pawn break to challenge black's central control. This move boldly sacrifices a pawn to gain a strong outpost for the knight and open lines for attack. This knight retreat offers flexibility, potentially preparing to redeploy to a more active square. This move weakens the kingside pawn structure significantly. This move aims to develop another piece and prepare to castle, but it overlooks the immediate threat to your knight. This move prepares to castle and develop the last minor piece. This move aims to simplify the position and exploit black's slightly awkward pawn structure. This move opens up the c-file and allows your queen to potentially influence the queenside later. White forces black to defend the bishop, creating an opportunity to gain a tempo. This move is a good step to centralize your king and prepare for castling on the queenside. Castling is a good idea to get your king to safety and connect your rooks. This move unpins the knight and prepares to develop the bishop to a more active square. This move centralizes the queen, preparing to connect the rooks and potentially support a queenside expansion. This pawn push weakens your kingside pawn structure significantly. This move aims to reposition the rook to a more active file, preparing for future central play. This pawn move weakens your king's safety significantly by creating holes. This move opens lines for your pieces, but it also weakens your central pawn structure. This move opens lines for your bishops and unpins your knight. This move prepares to bring the bishop to a more active square, targeting the kingside. This move challenges the bishop and creates an escape square for your knight. This move activates the bishop to a more aggressive diagonal, eyeing black's weakened kingside. This move actively contests the bishop and aims to disrupt white's central control. This move aims to reposition the bishop to a more active diagonal, but it leaves the queenside vulnerable to further attack. This knight sacrifice aims to disrupt white's pawn structure and open lines for black's pieces. This recapture removes the attacking queen and opens the d-file for your rook. This pawn advance on the queenside neglects the protection of the bishop on b7. This move solidifies the pawn structure and prevents black's knight from coming to b2. This move develops the bishop to a more active diagonal, anticipating future pawn advances and potentially challenging white's kingside control. This knight maneuver aims to reposition your knight to a more active square, possibly to f3 or g3, while clearing the way for other pieces. This move prepares to reposition the king to a safer square and allows the rook on h8 to become active. This move aims to gain space on the kingside and prepare for further pawn advances, but it might weaken your king's safety in the long run. This move aims to develop the bishop to an active square and potentially prepare for kingside attacks. This move brings the knight back into play, aiming to control important central squares and prepare for an attack. This move aggressively challenges white's central control and opens up lines for black's pieces. This pawn push opens lines and creates an imbalance, aiming to exploit the vulnerable kingside. This pawn advance sacrifices material to open lines against the white king. This move captures a pawn, but it opens up your king and neglects the development of your pieces. This recapture is a critical moment, as it simplifies the position and allows your opponent to gain a strong pawn center. This knight move aggressively challenges black's bishop, aiming to exploit the awkward placement of black's pieces. Black recaptures the bishop, simplifying the position but giving white a passed pawn. This move captures a knight and sacrifices your bishop, aiming to gain material and disrupt black's position. This move desperately tries to win back the material that was lost, but it fails to achieve its goal. This move looks to defend the weak pawn on c7 and potentially simplify the position. This move unfortunately hangs your bishop, allowing white to win material. This move forces the black king into a precarious position, potentially leading to a decisive attack. This move looks like a mistake, abandoning the defense of the knight and allowing white to capture it for free. This move, bxc3, exchanges pieces, opens the b-file for your rook, and simplifies the position. The king is exposed and vulnerable, leading to a forced sequence and loss of material. This move forces a decisive exchange and significantly simplifies the position in white's favor. This is a desperate attempt to salvage material, but it unfortunately leads to a swift checkmate. This move aims to regain the sacrificed pawn and centralize the rook for better activity. This move prepares to recapture the pawn on e4 and activate the rook to the open file. White correctly centralizes the rook to contest control of the open e-file. Black correctly captures the rook, simplifying the position and aiming to exploit white's weakened king's safety. This recapture finishes a crucial exchange, simplifying the position and bringing the rook to an active central file. This move brings the king into an active central position, aiming to exploit potential weaknesses in white's pawn structure. This move aims to exchange pawns and simplify the position, creating attacking chances with your rook.